All right, financial math classes. Today we're talking about renting or owning a home and comparing the costs between the two. So many people, I should say, rent homes, condos, apartments, or manufactured homes. Some of them rent because they either cannot afford to purchase a home or do not want the responsibilities that go with home ownership. One advantage of renting includes not having to make the down payment that ownership requires. Another is not having to worry about major unplanned housing expenses, such as roof repairs, broken appliances, or leaking pipes. Renters also have more flexibility than owners. They do not have to sell before moving. Some renting disadvantages are that renters, unlike homeowners, do not receive federal income tax benefits such as a mortgage, interest, and property tax deductions. Renters do not build up any equity in the house. Equity is value, more money, or apartment they are renting. In addition, most renters pay a one-time security deposit plus the first month's rent when they sign a lease. Comparing costs, the cost of renting includes such items as monthly rent, premiums on renters insurance, loss of interest on the security deposit, and utilities. As the cost of living increases, monthly rent payments may increase just as the owner's real estate taxes may rise. One disadvantage for home buyers involves the closing costs they must pay. Another is the loss of interest that they could be making if their down payment were in a savings account. The tax savings may offset the loss of interest. A home may appreciate, which means it increases in value, or depreciate or decrease in value on market conditions. The monthly mortgage payment will stay the same for the life of the loan if the interest rate is fixed. With the adjustable rate, the payment may increase or decrease depending on interest rate at the time of the adjustment. I would recommend fixed interest rates. All right. Adjustable interest rates could end up costing you a lot of money. So the thing about comparing housing costs when renting an apartment or buying a home, it's hard to compare the cost of an apartment to a house. So if you're going to compare the cost of renting or buying on a similar house compared to another house, so you want to compare apples to apples, right? Compare the same thing with each other. So let's look at an example. So a couple examples of housing costs. So rent or own. So this top one, the monthly payment is $780. You're just going to add up all these values. The annual property taxes are $2,200 plus annual insurance $680. And actually, so I should note the monthly payment. So we're going to add up all the annual costs of this. So the monthly payment, before I get too far, because I already forgot this, the monthly payment you need to multiply times 12, because then we're going to add all these. So we're going to do 12 times 780 for the annual cost, either the mortgage payment or the rent. So it's going to be 12 times 780, which is 9,360. Then I'm going to add in all the rest of these 20. So add in the annual property taxes, 2,200. You start with 780 times 12 plus 2,200 plus the annual insurance, so 680 plus the annual maintenance, 1,640 plus annual utilities, 4,960. The annual cost would then be $18,840. And then to figure out the monthly cost, you divide this by 12. So divide it by 12. So the average cost is $1,570. All right, for this one, the average monthly cost, you can do the 560 times 12. So that's $6,720 per year. There's no property taxes when you rent. The insurance, so plus 320. There's no annual maintenance when you rent. And then the utilities, 22 40. And this all comes out to 9,280. And then to figure out the average monthly cost, I'm going to divide that by 12, and that comes out to 773.33. I should note that this one is about half as much. These aren't comparable houses. We don't know what they are. It's just talking about comparing similar. It's not comparing similar homes. All right, it's just giving us numbers to practice calculating out the average. So let's look at this. Ann and Barry Lindell's expenses for renting versus owning a home in a table. This was assuming they are similar homes. So the annual rental expenses, so 850 times 12 is 10,200. Loss of interest, so I'm going to add up all these things. So loss of interest plus 45 plus the renter's insurance 180 plus 1560 for electricity plus gas and heat 2400 plus cable, TV, and internet. I'm going to come back. Oh crap, I did something wrong. So 99 times 12. I don't like this calculator, but this is the cable and internet is 1188. So back to adding 10,200 plus 45 plus 180 plus 1560 plus 2400 plus 1188. That comes out to 15,573 annual rental expenses. So annual homeowners expenses. So the mortgage payment, I'm going to assume that's not times 12 because that would be huge and that's not comparing to. So I'm going to assume that this mortgage payment is the annual mortgage payment, so yearly. So just add up all these things. Internet and cable is the same. This is going to be 1188. If you look, 99 times 12. So 6,600 plus 3,600 for property taxes plus 480 for homeowners insurance plus 1,710 for electricity plus 2,400 for gas and heat plus 1188 for the phone and cable and everything plus 570 for the loss of interest plus the maintenance 960, and then we actually subtract the tax savings. This gets minus at the end because that is tax deductions. That's money you get to keep. Minus the 1180 is 16,320. So is it less expensive for them to rent or buy a home? It is less expensive for them to rent. And if you subtract those two, so 16,328 minus 15,573, that comes out to $755 a year. And so cheaper to rent. Some things you want to think about when comparing that. So that's nothing. I mean, that's not nothing. 755 divided by 12. That's an average of $62 a month that they're saving. But something you want to think about is if you are renting, at the end of renting an apartment for how many ever years you do it, or the home, whether it's 1 year, 5 years, or maybe you rent that same home for 20 years, when you're done renting that apartment, all that money is in the pocket of whoever owns that home. You have nothing to show for that, right? You had a place to live, that's it. At the end of, if you own the home, at the end of your mortgage, you own the home, you could sell it and get some of that money back if you need to, right? So that's the difference between, that's something you got to think about when you are buying or renting a house. And that'll do it on this unit. I think the next chapter is all about investment. So see you then.